This week, I want to talk to you about feeling like you just don't have your shit together. I'm gonna be so for real.
Welcome to the Mindset Gym podcast, where we exercise your way of thinking to help unlock your hidden potential. I'm your host, Emily Irwin, a registered nurse and holistic nutritionist with a passion for all things health, fitness, and personal development. All right, let's get into it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mindset Gym podcast. Welcome back to Car Talk. This week, I want to talk to you about feeling like you just don't have your shit together. I'm gonna be so for real with you guys. I have not really been feeling like I have my shit together lately. I know sometimes there can be this misconception when you see people on social media, and that's kind of the only perception you get of them, that they have everything together and they have everything figured out. And something I want to really prioritize with this podcast is being honest with you and being authentic with, where I'm at and not giving you the impression that everything's perfect if it's not. And I think talking about it when it's really top of mind is helpful because it can serve as maybe something you need to hear if you're going through something similar right now. I think we all can go through periods of time where it feels like we just don't have it together in some sort of way. This could be, just generally speaking, it feels like you're dropping the ball in a lot of areas. It could be mentally, it could be emotionally, it could be financially, it could be socially, it could be with your work and the way that you're showing up with that. There are a lot of ways that it can feel like you just really just don't have your shit together. And in my particular case lately, I don't know that I could say that there's been one big event that has shifted my mental state, but I think more the accumulation of many little things. And mentally, I have just not felt super great lately. And as a result of that, my sleep's been kind of terrible. My workouts have been kind of lackluster. My diet is not really the way that I want it to be. And I have found that there's been days where I am just not showing up in the ways that I want to be, whether it's in social relationships or at work or on social media. Just in many different facets, I have felt that I am just not showing up in the way that I want to be and not feeling like the person that I want to be. And I think this is a good time of year to be talking about this as well. I don't know if you can see in the background behind me if you're watching on YouTube that it's snowing right now. We are just in the beginning of winter in Canada, and I'm sure the weather's going to get quite a bit worse. And so if anybody is listening that deals with something like seasonal depression, that in and of itself can be enough to be a catalyst for you feeling like you are just a little bit off and a little bit not on the ball the way that you typically want to be. And so I want to talk about a couple of things that I have tried to do lately to move through this period and help validate and improve the way that I'm feeling, and some things and some tools that maybe you can take into your own life if you're feeling a similar way. And the first thing I want to talk about is just giving yourself that grace and understanding that having periods like this is so normal. Something I caught myself doing a lot recently was noticing places in my life where I was not showing up or feeling like the person I wanted to be and attacking myself a lot for that. Walking around with this narrative of you're a failure, you're fucking everything up, like what are you doing, what is wrong with you, why can't you get this stuff right? And this blaming, shaming kind of narrative that I feel, at least for me, is the default narrative when I am showing up in these kinds of ways, and I'm sure is maybe the default narrative for you as well. It doesn't help. It doesn't make you feel particularly good. It doesn't make you feel particularly motivated to take any steps to improve what is going on for you. And so something I'm really trying to do is just lean into the fact that these periods are normal and everybody goes through them from time to time. And me going through something like that right now is not a testament to my value as a person. And just having that kind of compassion for yourself that what you're going through is okay. And if you're showing up a little bit differently than you normally do, that's okay. And I think it's important to kind of constantly remind yourself that it's normal, because we don't tend to see these periods for other people. Unless you have a close enough relationship with someone where they are telling you that they're going through something really hard and kind of letting you in on those intimate details of their life, typically you'll only see kind of small snippets of what is going on in their reality. And oftentimes that looks like just the best small snippets, and it seems a little bit like everything is perfect and everything is figured out, and they don't go through the same highs and lows that maybe you do. And it just can feel like no one else is going through something like this. But I promise you, a lot of people are, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if they aren't really upfront about it. I promise you, everybody goes through something like this from time to time. And it doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you anything less to be going through something hard. And something I have seen talked about here and there, I've seen some creators who struggle quite a bit with depression talk about this. And I think it's a really important mindset to have, that when you are going through a really difficult time mentally, if all you can do is survive the day, that's a win, right? That is a win. It can feel a lot like you're running behind if you are not thriving every single day and you're not checking a million things off a to-do list and you're not doing all of these amazing things that you see other people doing. But you don't have to be. If you are really going through it and even just getting out of bed is a chore, the fact that you're able to do that is a huge win. And putting steps in place to make being in that kind of survival mode easier is going to be a huge help for you. Whether you are dealing with something more serious like clinical depression or seasonal depression, or if you are just going through kind of a lower period in your life, taking steps to make that day-to-day kind of basic needs survival stuff easier to manage is going to be extremely helpful. So this can include small things like keeping water beside your bed, so it's easy to grab. Get one of those really big water bottles so you don't have to constantly refill it. Just keep it beside your bed. Keep food in the house that's really easy to prepare, things that are either already made or maybe you just have to heat them up. So if you're not feeling up to cooking, you have an option there to still have food. If you have the ability to lighten your load in any way, like if you're able to take some tasks off your plate as it relates to your job or things at home, maybe communicating with a partner or a roommate if you live with one about having them help you manage some things maybe a little bit more than they typically do so that you can focus on, repairing your mental state. Keeping things like baby wipes in the bathroom, so if you're not down for a whole skincare routine, you got something. Or if you're not down for a shower, you got something. Just the basics. Just having the basics available to you so that you can do what you need to do to be okay and to keep surviving through this period. And reminding yourself constantly that that's okay. That the way you're showing up right now is okay. Whatever way you need to show up when you are mentally feeling off your game is okay. Whatever it takes for you to get through the day. And just trying to keep in mind that this is not permanent. It's normal. It comes and goes. And you'll get through this the same way you've gotten through every other hard thing in your life. And again, this is something that I like to remind myself of when I'm going through something hard, is I like to take some time to reflect on other hard things that I've gone through in the past. Because when you're in the thick of something really hard and you mentally are not feeling the greatest, it can feel a lot like that is never ending and like that is just going to be your reality forever. But that's obviously not true. And I find taking that time to reflect on other hard things that you have overcome is a really good reminder in your capability to get through it. And can help make you feel like you are capable and strong enough to tackle what is currently going on. Something else I heard recently, I've been listening to the audiobook of High Functioning by Dr. Judith Joseph recently, and she's been talking about strategies for helping manage high functioning depression. And some of the strategies that she's talked about in her book are actually things that I like to put into practice as well when I'm feeling down. And something she talked about in the book was dressing for your feelings, and dressing in a way that either comforts you or makes you feel better. And so let's say, for example, you are feeling really down, either dressing in really bright colors in a way that kind of uplifts your mood in a way, or dressing in something really cozy and comfortable. And she mentioned, kind of in her words, dressing to the nines when you're feeling down, so that your physical appearance can kind of give you that energy and uplift you in the way that you need it to. And so something I try to make an effort to do when I'm feeling down is, continue to put a little bit of effort into the way that I look, not for other people, but just for me, so that I feel good in my own skin and feel a little bit more confident moving through my day. And the one caveat I will give to this is I try to pick my moments when I'm doing this. So something that I like to do as it relates to like physically how I show up in the world is doing like a really nice face of makeup, a lot of glitter, a lot of eyeshadow, all of that stuff. And I try to pick my moments when I'm feeling down, because there are some days where I'm feeling down, but I know I'm going to be okay to kind of keep it together. And days like that, I will pick to kind of do, balls to the wall kind of looks, and really try to, do my makeup a little bit nicer, do my hair a little bit nicer. And sometimes, depending what's going on, there are days where I know what's going to feel best for me is having a really good cry during the day. And so days like that, I certainly do not do my makeup to the nines, because if I do start to cry in those moments, it's going to be all over my face, and it's going to just be a hindrance to what I need in that particular moment. And so I think this can be a really helpful strategy, tailoring the way that you present yourself to the world, tailoring the way that you dress and do your makeup and do your hair and things like that to help support your mood and help uplift you a little bit can be really helpful, but also be willing to listen to your body in a way. So if you need a day where it's just cozy clothes, easy hairstyle, no makeup, because you know that you need something like a really good cry, or maybe you need to stay in bed for more of the day than you usually do, allow yourself that space to do that. And don't beat yourself up for doing it. Don't make yourself wrong for having to have those moments, because having to have that kind of wind down recovery time or that kind of emotional release is something that can be really therapeutic, and it can be really helpful to having you move through your feelings. I am personally someone that when I am going through something really hard, or I'm just going through a period mentally where I don't feel the greatest, I kind of need to cry it out in some moments. And so yesterday was that day for me. Yesterday was kind of the day that I needed to cry this whole experience out and just kind of let go of some of the emotions that I've been feeling. And something else that I try and do during these periods is find ways to talk through the way that I'm feeling, because you keeping a lot of thoughts and emotions in your head can make it really hard to actually make sense of them and actually have a full understanding of what is going on, because it feels very emotionally charged. It feels like this kind of tangled up mess of thoughts and feelings. And so I really like trying to find strategies to get my feelings out in some sort of way. And obviously me talking to you on this podcast is one way for me to be doing this. But if you don't have a podcast, there's other ways that you can do this. I mean, if you wanted to even just turn the camera on and just talk about the way that you're feeling and just share your experience, and you don't have to share it with anybody. You can just have that for yourself and have it just as something that you do to get your thoughts out. Keep it after, don't keep it after, whatever feels good for you. Or keeping a journal and writing down the way that you're feeling and actually working through it on a physical piece of paper so you can see your thoughts written out in front of you. Or talking to someone that you trust, someone that is going to listen and validate your feelings. And depending on what you need in that particular moment, making sure that you communicate with them that maybe you just need a moment to let your emotions out and vent a little bit, and maybe expressing that you're not looking for advice, you're just looking for an ear. And I think we all know who those people are when you're needing someone who is genuinely just going to listen. I think for the most part, we all have somebody that comes to mind that we know is going to be a good person to just be that sounding board that we need. And so going to someone like that and just talking through the way that you're feeling, even if they don't give you any feedback, just having them there to listen can be extremely helpful. There's a lot of benefit to you venting your feelings in some sort of way. And again, this is actually something Dr. Judith Joseph talks about in her book, is the importance of venting and how beneficial it can be for our health, and how she actually believes that there can be physical ramifications to your health. And she gave some clinical examples of people who had been bottling up emotions and how it manifested as physical ailments, and being able to have that moment to vent and get it all out actually seemed to remedy the problem. She gave an example once of a young man who came into the emergency room when she was working as a doctor, and he was presenting with right-sided paralysis with no known physical cause. He woke up one morning unable to move any part of the right side of his body, couldn't even blink his right eye, and the doctors couldn't figure out why. And Dr. Joseph overheard him talking to his wife while he was in the hospital, and he admitted that to his wife that when he was really young, he witnessed his dad having a heart attack and didn't know what to do. He saw his father collapse to the ground, and being a young child, didn't know how to intervene and didn't know how to help. And I think he lost his father. I don't quite remember all the details of the story, but he was able to get this all out and admit to his wife the way that he was feeling. And his wife was pregnant at the time with their first child. And after venting all of these feelings to her, the following morning he woke up and the paralysis was gone. He was back to a normal functioning human, and they ended up sending him home the next day. And her suspicion was that the impending knowledge of him becoming a new father triggered all of these feelings that he had never expressed, and having them bottled up and having them create all of this internal turmoil and stress is what led to this manifestation of it in some sort of physical ailment. And him being able to vent it out helped resolve the issue and helped reduce this kind of stress on his system that was causing the paralysis. So there's a lot of benefits to you getting your feelings and emotions out in some sort of way, whether it's talking to someone or journaling about it or speaking about it to yourself. Something I like to do as well that I actually find really helpful now, because we have this as a tool, is using AI to actually talk through it in like a role play type of sense. And so I will use ChatGPT and kind of write through everything that I'm feeling, what's on my mind, what's going on, and it can kind of help coach me through my thoughts and piece them together in a more productive way. And in some situations, let's say, for example, I have to have a conversation with someone that I'm really anxious about, and that is kind of the large source of my stress, is trying to figure out how I'm going to show up in those conversations and what I want to say and how I'm going to articulate myself in the best way. I have used ChatGPT in those instances to kind of role play how the conversation may go and what kind of responses I can give depending what comes up. And I find that to be really, really helpful to just prepare myself for difficult things and just have it kind of lift me up in a way that I need it to when I'm feeling down. And you can prompt it in ways to do this. So something I like to do before I, enter into ChatGPT, what is going on with me, is kind of the prompt of talk to me like a therapist would, and then enter what is going on, and then give me advice and give me some suggestions for how to work through this in a productive way. And it can be really helpful. It'll give you some really valuable tools to help you move through this. So yeah, I guess just the main takeaway that I want to say today is we all don't have our shit together from time to time, and you don't suck for being in a period like that. You're not a failure. You're not less valuable as a human. You are normal, and you're going to be okay, and you're going to be able to get through this. And I guess that's what I wanted to say to you today, is just giving you that knowledge that I see you, I understand you, I'm going through something similar right now. And if you're in a really hard period of your life, or if you're in kind of a lower season mentally, you are not alone. It's going to be okay. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. If you like the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, or share the show with a friend. Your support helps this show reach even more incredible people just like you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time at the Mindset Gym.